All right, we're here for the next episode of Every Citizen Armed. Today, we are joined by Moises Bravo. He has been a buddy of mine. I was thinking about it, Mo, and it's been, probably 22, 23 years that we've known each other now.
Been a long time.
Yeah, to think of all of that, how young we were back then.
And you still look the same, my friend.
That's because I was gray in my early 20s. So.
Every Citizen Armed ensures that every American patriot is prepped with knowledge, perspective, and firepower.
He counted on America to be passive. He counted wrong.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
I really thought it would be great to bring Mo on. His story is, to me, is remarkable. He's been one of the best people I've ever known in my life. We used to work together for a while, and it was outstanding. He made me look really good at times, just by his abilities. And then, but like I said, the big reason is his story. I mean, it's where he's come from, and we'll get into that a little bit, and where he's at now, and everything in between. So, Mo, why don't we start with this? Why don't you kind of talk a little bit about where you're from, your beginnings, and we'll kind of take it from the early years.
Okay.
And like I said, when you came over here from Mexico.
Yeah. So first, I want to say thank you for having me. So I'm here. But I was born in Mexico, Iguala, Guerrero, Mexico. Small town in the state of Guerrero. Born there, came over to the States when I was 2 years old. My mother brought me illegally. I went to school, graduated like normal. Didn't have my citizenship, didn't have my green card, didn't have a worker's permit. So I worked construction right afterwards, worked in the fields. And I was able to finally get a lawyer to get my worker's permit. And with that worker's permit, I was able to work at Save-A-Lot.
When was that? What year was that?
Oh, my goodness.
Because I met you in 2003, I think it was.
I want to say I was 19, 20 years old. I was able to get my worker's permit.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. And sure enough. And then slowly, once I worked for it. I had to work a certain amount of time before I could go back to the lawyer and back to Fresno for the citizenship, for the immigration. And as soon as I got my green card, I was able to join the Army because that's something I always wanted to do. And so I joined the Army National Guard here in Bakersfield. Through the Army.
Well, let me ask you this. Growing up, okay, you came over, like you said, you had to work to get your green card. But
yes.
So you went to school a long time. You're here illegally.
Yes.
Yeah, but you're still able to go to school.
Yes.
And how was that growing up, knowing you kind of had that little, I want to say if that's over your head or if you even thought about it?
I never thought about it until I got to high school because I always thought I was a citizen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. The reason I know I'm not a citizen because my mom took us to Mexico to visit family, and me and my sister couldn't come back.
Oh.
I was like, what the heck?
And how old were you?
So not even high school. Sorry, I was wrong. I was beginning sixth grade.
Okay.
So sixth grade, that's when I found out I was illegal. So because I couldn't come back, she had to pay a coyote to bring me to the States.
Oh, back
to bring me back again, yes.
Wow.
I didn't know that until last time I knew I was not a citizen. So
and how was that? Was that scary?
It was because we lived in Mexico City with one of my aunts for a year. Went to school there and everything.
And how was it coming back over? I mean, you're sixth grade?
Sixth grade, yes.
And so then Carla, who I know well too,
yes, my sister,
she was
yes.
what, a year younger?
A year younger.
So here she's in fifth grade, you're in sixth grade, and now you're with this coyote, and you're having to come across the border.
I don't remember the coyote very well. I just remember all it was. We just literally sat in the car and we just talked to we went to the immigration line.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, like nothing.
Okay.
And they let us through. I was like, okay.
But that was probably back in the early, sometime in the early 90s?
Yes, early 90s.
Early 90s?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of when that would be, yeah.
But it wasn't a hassle. It was not a big deal. I mean, we spoke English. We were very Americanized.
Sure.
And now I realize, like, man, how stupid that was, my mom, to do that. But I'm like, at the same time, I'm grateful for that experience in Mexico because I got to see where I'm from. I got to go visit, see areas around there.
Sure.
See my history. At the same time, made me so grateful to be in the United States. Even though I wasn't a citizen at the time still, I was so grateful to be back in the States.
I think that's something that gets overlooked at times too is, I'm conservative. There's no hiding. There's no doubts about that. And I have my ideas about immigration. And I certainly support legal immigration, not illegal, but legal. But at the same time, if I was down there,
Yep.
I would do everything I could to come here.
Yeah, you've always told me that, and I've always agreed with you. It's like, yeah, I've always been on the government. Fix the government. People don't want to come over here. We want to make the country better.
Yeah, I would love to see Mexico get turned into a positive environment. It's to where to me, I've always looked at that as that could be one of the richest countries in the world.
Oh yeah,
They have everything.
they have everything, but our founding fathers. Oh man, the United States, the way it was made, the way it is, you should be so grateful the way they founded everything, the democracy, the Constitution. It's just incredible how it was written, how it still adapts to us, how it's being changed, how it's able to grow, evolve, and you can't do that in Mexico. You can't. Because it's so corrupted.
Right.
The only way that's gonna work is gonna have to be a civil war, restart it all over again.
Yeah, which is scary.
Yes.
Which is very scary.
Yes.
So I can totally understand wanting to leave. And really commendable of your mom. I know it was scary in 5th to 6th grade, but the bravery on her part to do that.
Yes.
And even when you guys were little, you were 2 or 3?
2, yeah. My sister was 1.
Well,
Yeah.
1, and to come across, and you won't remember what that crossing was like
Right.
necessarily.
I don't remember it. Yes.
But that had to be scary for her.
Yes, and for her, the same thing. I'm grateful for her. She's not a very good person, but I'll always be grateful for that.
Yeah.
That she brought me here.
Yeah, I think that's it. So then you go through, and now you're here illegally in 6th grade. Now does that change anything about your mindset?
It kind of, you don't want to like, so what? I'm from Mexico, so what? There's kids here on what is it called, that student visa program?
Yeah.
So I'm like, whatever. I'll just keep dealing with it. But it's once to high school when I realized, like, hey, this sucks, because these kids start talking about colleges, the military, these vocational programs they're gonna do. I can't do any of that. I don't have a future. Like, I can't. That. So I went through a lot of depression. Being
Really?
honest,
Okay.
yes, because and at that time my mom and dad had split up, beginning 9th grade. So a very interesting experience it was for me. Yeah, I mean, I had to raise my brothers and sisters. You know that.
Yeah, I watched that. I
So-
was very impressed with that.
So going through that, but I never tried to show it to them.
Yeah, I looked at that when I met you, like I said, back in 03, and you were very much like the father figure.
Yes, I was, and that's not even like me bragging about it. I didn't want to because I wasn't a very good father. I don't say I'm not very good. I tried as best as I knew how.
I would say you did pretty good. I met him. I've met your family members, and you were just a kid.
Yeah. Yes.
So yeah, I think you did pretty well for that. So.
Yeah, there was no manual for that. And
Right.
I mean, it's stuff I knew now. I mean, I wish I would have applied the stuff that I applied to my children. I wish I would have applied to my siblings.
Oh, I look at that now. Even with my kids are all grown up, and what I didn't know even then now compared to with my grandkids, it's night and day difference.
Yeah, I bet.
And grandkids are awesome.
Yeah,
So
and same thing with your kids came out great.
yeah, that's so. Here you are. You get into you're getting into high school. I appreciate that. Thank you. And now you're realizing this. So now you have to start taking some steps. What are you going to do to start getting your green card at this point?
I don't know about green card. I don't know about workers permit. I don't know anything. I don't do nothing. I don't know, because my mom just don't ask about it. Don't ask about it.
Okay.
I'm like, all right, because I'm like, what am I going to do? And as soon as I turned, because I was 18 in high school, kids were like, hey, so what are you going to do? You gonna go to BC at least? And I'm like, oh, no, man, I'll probably take some time off. I was just embarrassed. I mean, I had no future.
Right.
So I called my aunt, and she lives in Parrish, California.
Okay.
And my uncle, he works construction. And I asked him if I could come work for him, under the table, obviously.
Sure.
And I did. I went to work for him for almost a year. And during that time, I want to say we used to go to church. We're different churches. And that's the one thing that I don't want to get into that too much.
Sure.
Because it was crazy. Because I'll make it short. My parents, like I said, not very good people. We would go to different churches. I mean, Catholics, Christians, non-denominational, Baptists, Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we
Wow, you got it all covered.
We were all those religions. But my parents, we went to those because they would get something out of it. Free food.
I got you.
Free help. So that's why my parents did it. I mean, you start realizing as you get older, like, oh my God, that's horrible. But I am happy for that because we were going to a Mormon church, and one of the gentlemen there, I can't remember his name. She's like, yeah, I got a lawyer for you. And sure enough, I called, and I was in high school. No, I had graduated high school, 18. Yes, I graduated high school. I called somewhere in downtown Bakersfield, I remember, and I just went to him, and he just said, hey, this is your application. This is what we got to do. This is how much it's going to be. Cool. And I went, and he got me an appointment to go to the immigration in Fresno, got me my worker's permit. And with that, I was able to save enough money working with my uncle to pay for that.
Oh, very good.
Yeah. And then to come back to Bakersfield and applied. Mike Musgrove. You know Mike Musgrove?
Mike Musgrove.
From Save-A-Lot.
Oh, yeah, Mike.
So Mike was a Mormon. Well, he is a Mormon, I'm sure still. So I met him at the church playing basketball.
Okay.
Playing basketball.
All right.
And he's like, yeah, I'll come hire you. I was like, I just got this worker's permit. He's like, yeah, I'll come hire you. I was like, all right. He took a chance on me.
Yep.
And that was my first legal paying job in the States.
Oh,
was
be
Save-A-Lot.
darned.
Yep.
And that would have been probably 01, 02? Actually, how long you'd been there before I came on board?
Had to be 2001, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You'd been there a couple years, I think, or a year and a half when I
About
was
a
started.
year or something
Was
like
it?
that,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember Mike.
Yeah,
That's right.
Mike
I forgot
Musgrove,
all
yep.
about some of those guys. He was a great guy.
Yeah.
And I think that is the Mormon religion. Like I said, I have a lot of really good friends that are Mormons.
Beautiful people.
Take care of their people
Yes.
very, very well.
And they help as much as they can.
Yeah.
So they're beautiful people. You know, unfortunately, I just didn't believe their doctrine.
Right.
But I'll never bash on them because they were incredible people. Always treated me with respect and,
Yes.
and my family.
No, absolutely. So you went through that. So now you've got your green card, and now you got a regular job. You're not having to work under the table anymore. That had to put a big relief on you, I would think. That took a lot of weight off your shoulders.
Yes. Yes, it did. And I tried to go back to BC, took a couple classes. Oh, my goodness, the hardest thing I've ever done. It's hard because I was like, man, it's been a while.
Yeah.
And I didn't mention this in high school. I took easy classes. I tell this to my kids. It's embarrassing, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
I took easy classes like it doesn't matter. I can't. Why take college prep? Why take AP classes? It doesn't matter for me.
Right.
I'll just make it easy as I can because I can't. I'm not going to get on anything out of it. I can't go to college.
You didn't see a future, so
Right.
why was I worried about it?
Right. Now I wish I would have,
Sure.
but I mean, it is what it is.
You know, and I say this all the time, I don't believe in regrets because you can't regret not doing that because if you had done that, it might have changed the next few steps.
Yeah,
And if
absolutely.
you had done something different, you might not have, met Mike. You might not have went and got the other things, got your citizen. You might not have met Marissa. So all the different little steps, that's why I just don't believe in regretting anything that we did in that. Because everything leads to something else.
Yeah, and I'll add something else to that, what you said, which I like. But I tell my kids and anybody trying to mentor is like the best thing also about regrets is you get to learn from it.
Absolutely. Make a mistake.
Yeah, so.
Make a mistake.
Yeah.
Well, I always say you'll learn more from mistakes than you will from your successes.
True story, my friend.
Nonstop. I mean, that's just always so. So now you're working there, and I think you went through a lot of steps to get there, and they got you there finally. And now, like I said, you joined the National Guard, right?
Yes.
Because I think that's where I kind of came around. You'd been in the Guard for a little bit, and watching you go through that progression and getting to know you at that point, I was just impressed from pretty much the day I met you. I just thought you were just a great at that point, like great kid.
Yeah, I was a kid, yeah.
We've all got older, so. But how long were you in the service?
So total of 8 years.
Okay.
But it's not all conjunction. It was all separate. Deployments here, deployment there, active duty time here. Because I joined the National Guard because you know how they say 2 weeks out of the year, 2 weekends a month. Not my case, my friend. I was more active than I just done active duty, been done in 2 years.
I remember the day you came in when you got your deployment papers. You came and you told me, and you were like, "Holy smoke!
Yes.
I'm getting deployed." And yeah, it wasn't in the thought process necessarily when you joined, right?
Right. I mean, you want to serve your country.
Yep.
And I was not, and I'll say it, I was not mentally strong enough at that. I wasn't developed yet.
Right.
I wasn't grown up. I was taking care of my brothers and sisters. I was like, but I didn't know how to handle finances very well. You don't learn these things until you're my age now where you understand everything. But I was just scared, and I was scared.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was scared for you when you came in and told me. But the young man that left and I believe you went to Iraq.
Yes,
right?
first time, yes.
And then the young man that came back was, very different, very grown up. You were the same young man, but there was a lot of differences in you.
Yes.
And you were over there for what? 8 months?
No, a year. A little bit, yeah.
I wasn't sure. Oh, you were actually in Iraq for a year?
Yeah. Heck yeah.
One of the things that I might be remembering this wrong, and you can tell me if I am, something that's always bothered me about when you went to Iraq, the government was supposed to get you your citizenship because you were being deployed, from my understanding.
Right. Well, I don't think they were supposed to, but they didn't. You have to. It's like so someone told me this in the Army, and it's true. If you don't ask, or anything like, if you don't ask, you're not going to know.
Right.
So the Army is not going to be, okay, yeah, sure. What do you need? It's like, no. You have to go ask, hey, what's about this? Hey, how do I get this? You have to go ask. You have to inquire. It takes it upon yourself.
Right.
And I didn't know that.
Okay.
So that's why nothing had happened.
I always feel if you're going to go serve time in the service,
Right, you should at least
you should get your citizenship
Right.
automatically, in my opinion.
Right. And I honestly, I thought that was the case too. I'm like, cool, I'm going to be a citizen. But again, I don't know. That's just me being naive.
Yeah.
And again, not asking.
Okay. All right.
But when I came back, I was able to, I just asked. I was like, hey, what's up with this? Like, hey, maybe we'll see this person. And sure enough, I was able to get my stuff eventually.
Okay. And how long did it take from when you start to finish there?
When I came back, and then I got deployed to Sacramento for the border mission. That's when I did my process there to become a
Okay.
citizen, yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. I forgot you went down to the border for a while.
Yeah. But so I'm going to mention this one because you helped me out. When I came back from Iraq, again, not knowing everything, not understanding myself, the PTSD, like I never heard of the PTSD.
Right.
And I didn't at that age, but I was not right. I couldn't explain it. It's hard.
Yeah, I remember us talking about it.
Yeah, and I couldn't talk about it. But I mean, who would understand?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously my parents were not there, and my siblings are way too young to understand, and they don't know what's going on. So, but you were there for me. They were like, hey, son, come on, come live with me for a little bit. I'm like, this guy, I'm not going to just leave my family, but I needed to. And you saw that in me, and you gave me that help, just a fresh breath air. So I'm grateful for those months that you let me live with you in your home. But like, who does that? Now that I think about who does that? Who lets another man live with him and his kids? Who trusts people like that, But you, like you said earlier, you've seen something in me. You trusted me.
Oh, yeah.
And for that, I never want to take that for granted. And I'm grateful for that time you let me be there.
Now, I remember talking about it, actually, your brother-in-law, Raymond, when you came back. And we spent quite a bit of time talking about, hey, I think, something's happening with you, at the time. You weren't in there, we were having those conversations, but we were worried about you. And I think the timing worked out pretty well. It was good. We were always happy to help. Yeah, I definitely saw something in you. I knew there was, like I said, you're one of the best guys. One of the most moral people I know.
Thank you.
And I think that was that's what I saw. That's this young man needs some help. So let's do what we can.
Thank you, Chuck. Yeah. And one thing I've realized now, one thing I'm great at is listening and applying what I get to see around people. Mm-hmm. So I got to see you raise your kids, got to see the way you are. Obviously, little Chuck wasn't there because he was doing his thing, but it was you and your daughters. Mm-hmm. And I thought to myself, your home was so heartwarming, so welcoming. Mm-hmm. That's what I want from when I have a family, when I have kids. Mm-hmm. That's what I aim for.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, and for that, I got to see that. I was like, it is possible.
Yeah. No, we had a good time. We had a real good time, actually.
First time I ever drank Coors Light,
Maybe I was a bad influence. I don't know. Turn you into a redneck.
Yeah.
We've all seen it in the news. Someone defends themselves or their loved ones only to find themselves fighting a legal battle that can cost everything. Mortgage payments, retirement savings, even their kids' college funds, gone, just to prove they did nothing wrong. That's why Firearms Legal Protection, the official sponsor of every citizen armed, exists. For as little as 33 cents a day, FLP gives you unlimited legal defense for criminal and civil cases. No caps, no hidden fees, and no surprise bills. If you have to defend yourself, FLP will handle the legal battle so you can focus on what matters: your family, your future, and your freedom. We insure our homes, cars, and health. Why wouldn't we protect ourselves legally when it matters most? Go to firearmslegal.com Choose your plan, and don't forget to use promo code ECA at checkout for exclusive pricing, no setup fee, and a locked-in lifetime rate. Protect yourself today, and Firearms Legal Protection will have your back when you need it.
So then you go through, and then, like I said, remember, one of my favorite stories about us and about you is we're sitting on the couch, and you think of the story I'm gonna say probably, but we're watching the soccer game. Do you remember that?
Was it about the flags?
Well, it was about you were rooting for Mexico.
Oh, yes, yes.
And we were sitting there, and you said, "Oh, my people are playing," and we were talking about it, and I said, "No, are they really your people anymore? You're an American.
Yeah.
These are your people." I remember we
remember.
talked about that.
I do remember, yeah.
And it was, I thought it was a real interesting conversation, and it was good for me to have it too, because it's like I said, any conversation I can have, I'm going to grow from as well.
Yeah.
But I don't know what you ever thought back on that one.
So I learned from that, from talking to you. You always made me feel like you can disagree with somebody, but still be friends, still be around one another. At the time, I obviously disagree with you. That was being prideful, number one. Mm-hmm. I was not educated, I felt. Now that I'm older and I've seen it, you're right. I am citizen. This is what I have a hard problem with different, doesn't matter where you're from, Portugal, Spain, Mexico, Jamaica, Colombia. I hate, personally, I'll say the word hate. I hate seeing those flags up over the American flag. I hate it. Because we came to this country, I say we because I did. I came here to this country for a reason, to be a citizen, to want to be here. So I'm not saying don't be proud of where you're from.
Absolutely.
Absolutely be proud of from. That's your heritage. Just, we're here in America. That comes first.
Right.
Before any other flag. So now, like what you're saying, now it's funny. I do that now with, Hispanic uncles from my mom's side. You're like, hey, you're going for U.S. and Mexico. Yeah, we're going for USA, baby. No, they're like, you traded. I'm like, well, then go back, I mean, because I'm here. I wanted to be here,
Yeah.
And this is my country.
And I agree with you on the other flags. And I've felt the same way. I don't ever like to see another country's flag fly around when I like to see ours. But I always take that back even to the Confederate flag.
Oh,
which
yes,
is not
yeah.
popular. And so I don't like to see that one flown. And when I was a kid, I was young and dumb. I thought differently. But that one should never, that's the country that lost.
Yes.
In the
yeah,
war.
they're losers. Yeah, they're losers. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the loser of the war. So you adapt and and now it's assimilating. You're assimilating into the society.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big part of it. And I think if we could get more of that, then I think we'd have a lot less racial division.
So I agree with you, and I'm going to add something else to that. I'm going to give my opinion first, and I want to hear yours. I don't agree with the stuff, whatever it is. I don't agree with Asians' lives matter. I don't agree with Black lives matter, Hispanic lives matter. I don't agree with police lives matter. I don't agree. All that creates divisiveness, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. How about all lives matter? But everybody wants to belong to something, and if you don't, you're a racist. But me personally, I don't agree with any of them.
No, I agree
think we should all be together. Changing the flag's colors to the black and white, or Black Lives Matter, or the blue, police lives matter. Yeah, police lives do matter, but we're one,
That's funny because I'm the same way. And I don't really like seeing when you take the American flag and you put I get why they're putting the blue line in there.
I get it too, yes.
And you're going to put the red flag in there. And I have police officers in the family. We have firemen in the family. But I always say the same thing. You're changing the American flag, and I don't like that. I've never been a big fan of that.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just my own personal thing, or other people like it the same way. I'm glad. But at the same time, you just don't change the flag. I'm not a big fan of saying, African American, Mexican American, all the different things, or, certainly not separating the groups. If we're here, we're all American.
That's it. Plain and simple.
I don't care who you are.
Yep, plain and simple.
Yeah, be proud of your heritage. If I could look back enough at mine, and we did the DNA test, and it's all Eastern European or whatever, but okay, but that's fine. But I'm American, and that's when you're here. I feel that's the way it should be.
There's no argument from here. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So with that, we'll go up, come back into your story a little bit more, but I think that ties into what's going on in society right now. Here we are, January, 23rd, and we've had a change in leadership. and change in administration. And we're going to see a lot of changes we already are actually in 3
Yes.
days
Yeah.
in what's happened with immigration laws. With that, like I said, you support legal immigration, I imagine, just like anybody else. Do it
Yes.
the right way.
Yes.
But you have family and friends. Are they going to be affected by this? And how do you feel about that?
It's unfortunate. You can't please everybody. And like I said, I was illegal.
Yeah.
You know? And we talked to this before the show started, was everybody's, I believe, and I hope Trump administration does everybody on a case-by-case basis just to see how they're here. It's like, yeah, they're here illegally, but look at them. I mean, what are they doing? Are they, like we said, you crime, you're out. And like you said, not just any traffic stop, but I'm talking about drugs, sexual assaults. Yeah, get them out.
Yeah.
Get them out. And those are the individuals that make it bad for all the other reputation, for all the other people trying to come over.
Yeah, it hurts everybody.
Yeah, it hurts everybody. But I do understand, I mean, we can't take care of the whole world. It's hard. You know, you want to see the best. If you're a Christian, you want to see the best for everybody. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, we can't. You know, that's your government.
Right. So when I look at that and I think about, I just kind of came back to me, you did do a little tour with the National Guard down there on the border.
Yes.
You know, we're hearing a lot of things about building the wall again. You were down there. You would have a better view than anybody else. What do you think about the idea of having because I feel, I'll tell you my opinion on it, then you tell me yours. Not knowing they're not working at it, I think we need to build a wall and actually have big doors, big gates, like they say, to where it's open to let people in when they come in legally. But I think we need to secure the border first and then deal with everybody who's here, like you said, on a case-by-case basis. But would that wall really make a difference?
It is going to make a difference. What's that saying? If you want something that bad, you'll find a way.
Right.
So is it impenetrable? I don't think so. I think they'll end up finding ways.
Right.
But man, it's crazy. These TikToks, these YouTube videos. Hey, come over here. Come to this side. You know, the Chinese are just coming over like in the truckloads. And I'm like, man, how is that just possible?
Yeah.
And the poor Border Patrol officers with their hands tied. But I don't think it's going to stop because it's so political. I don't understand why we can't just, like you said, just put a freaking wall, get enough officers. Why do we keep having this issue?
It takes away a political argument on both sides. That's the way I've always looked at it. Neither one of them want to fix it.
Yes, I agree. Mexico does not want to fix it. Money and the United States,
And neither party in our country wants to fix it because then the Democrats can't say it's going wrong. Republicans can't say you got to fix it. Once you fix it, you've taken away any argument, any discussion. Now they have to find something else to argue about.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, who in their right mind, just seeing what's happening with all these people coming over, who in their right mind can say, oh yeah, let's just keep it the way it's going? There's a reason Kamala Harris lost. There's a reason people didn't want Biden, going. This is the most, and I'm just speaking whatever I've seen on ABC, NBC, Fox, the most Hispanics, the most black men that voting for Trump or voted for a Republican candidate in history.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to change it. I mean, people are seeing it like just open your eyes. And I try to listen, but I try to be a realist. Something has to change.
Well, that was kind of one of the big reasons I wanted to bring you on, because you're going to have a different perspective than a lot of other people, I would think. And I was always impressed with the way you talked about it. So that was, and coming out of the military, going into Department of Corrections. So you've dealt with everybody. I mean,
Yes.
in the military, you've dealt with every single race. In the Department of Corrections, you've dealt with the good, the bad, the ugly, a lot of the bad.
Yes.
A lot of the bad. I toured your prison one time, and you guys are amazing. Because I couldn't do it, and I was impressed you did it for, 16 years?
16 years, yeah.
And you're still the same person you were before you went in, which is impressive.
Yeah, I was able to use just my values and never lost that, never lost track of who I was. I didn't overdo it. I didn't work extra when I didn't have to. I understand people do it for the overtime and stuff like that, but peace of mind, money buys a lot. I tell you, but money buys whatever you want. I mean, it can buy you love, but the one thing you can't buy, still to this day, you still can't buy time.
Right.
That time is so precious to me.
No, and I've seen your kids, and they're coming up very, very well. So That time in the prisons, did you see a lot of illegal immigrants coming through there? I would
Oh,
imagine?
yes. Very frustrating. Very frustrating. It's not, I mean, you obviously don't know everybody's crime because I don't look at everybody, sit there, look at what they're here for. Someone will tell you what they're there for. They're honest about it. Someone, obviously, they lie because they don't want it, their business out there. But I'll call them paisas or anybody from a different country, when they're complaining to you, or you get I can't remember, it was a Asian heritage individual. Well, we have to accommodate this individual. He's complaining about something. He has some kind of some food coming that he bought for himself. That I have this coming. Here's my right. I'm like, man, you have no rights in the street. You have no rights in this country. But you come to the prison, you have all kinds of rights. The inmate bill of rights, and that's again by that common sense. Like, how does that make sense to us? And this person that's illegally from Venezuela, getting all this treatment, but in prison he's got that coming. He deserves that.
He's almost better off in prison than
Yes.
he was.
Yes.
Yeah, that's not a deterrent.
Yes.
It seems like when you're doing that.
Yes, and some of these individuals that know they're going to get deported, who've been contacted through the prison, because as a supervisor, I got to make these meetings happen, kind of like we're doing it now. I'll put it on speakerphone. They will talk to the ICE agent, let them know what's going to happen, and most likely they're going to get deported. They'll commit another crime in prison so they can stay in prison.
Oh.
Yes, yes.
Which doesn't speak well for going back home. I get it. But
Right.
at the same time, it also tells me we're making it way too easy on these guys in prison. Way too easy.
You said it, my friend. Yep, way too easy. They're like, yeah, I'd just rather do my time here.
Wow.
How crazy is that? Than to go back to their country to get deported.
Yeah, exactly. And it does go back to the beginning in a way. I think, like you said, that I'd have a revolution in Mexico or somewhere. We had to do it here. I mean, granted, it was years and years and years ago,
Yeah.
and I don't know that we would now.
No, I mean, we're pretty much structured, but I mean, nothing lasts forever. So who knows how long this.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've been so fortunate with that Constitution that is able to adapt and grow.
Yeah. Yeah, you went to Bosnia, right?
Bosnia also, yep. Second
Now,
deployment.
what was that like?
Bosnia is just a different country. It just being in the military gives you that perspective of life, of where you're from, But sometimes we may look at, kind of like I was living in Mexico, I consider that a deployment, being there when I was a kid.
Yes.
But people aren't bad, or people aren't living, just because you see it different, because we're stuck in our bubble here in the United States sometimes, in our communities, that when we see something different, like, oh man, that sucks for them. Like, no, they like life that way. They like working the way they're working. But being in Bosnia, very different, and it taught me. That's what kind of starts myself. I started separating more from myself from religion, personally, and I got to see that because these individuals, they look the same. They look exactly the same skin color, same
Right.
body features, Muslim and Christian with Serbians, but they hate each other, and they're in the same country. Imagine living in Bakersfield being split in half. I mean, the city
Yeah.
and this side is for the Serbians, for the Albanians. And they hate each other. And that's why we were there. Our military president was what's the president that smoked weed? Talked about
Clinton.
it. Clinton. He sent us over there, yes. So that's where the U.S. forces are there. But yeah, they hate each other. And you can see the way they are. But, I mean, they live the same. They kind of have the same customs, the same type of food.
Just religion.
Just religion. And they hate each other. But what I'm trying to get at is when you're born that little, like, hey, these people are bad.
Yeah.
And we believe this, we believe that. When that individual grows up, how's he going to be? The same.
Yeah, it just grows.
Yeah. And the difference between me and them is, like, I didn't grow up like them. So to me, it's like, oh, nonsense what you guys are fighting over.
Yeah.
And to them, it's like, no, this is all right. I'm like, so I understand that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it gave me a different perspective of life, see the way they live.
Probably made you really appreciate what was happening here.
Yeah, especially, yes.
I mean, with the rights we have and the abilities and the lifestyles we're able to maintain in the U.S., I think it's tough in those other countries. I've always heard that you want to really appreciate what we've got, go visit some of those other countries.
Yes, and there is some very poor countries out there, So yes, it makes me very grateful to be here,
Yeah.
a United States citizen.
That's why I've always kind of felt about it. So with that, and like I said, I did want to talk a little bit about what's happening with the changes in the administration and the changes in the immigration laws. If you had your magic wand, How would you address this?
Kind of like we talked about it before the show. Is just I know it's going to be impossible because there's so many human beings out here illegally. But if everybody could sit down on a case by case basis, I'm not talking about spend a whole week with them. Just if you could run a background check, I guess, kind of like we get into corrections or into the police department, run a background check, see what they're about. They're doctors. We don't want to get rid of those individuals. Right. People that can be productive to the society. But those other ones, get rid of them. We don't. It's just more than we don't need. And everybody has ideas. Everybody has. Even me. I wish I could give you the greatest answer, but it's hard.
No, absolutely. I think you're a success story though, so that's why. So you do that. You come through the corrections. You did 16 years, and now you've retired basically. From the corrections department. It has to be. I mean, after what I saw in there's that one little minute. I was in it. And I think I was all of 2 or 3 hours. I walked through the prison, and I thought, this is rough. This is rough on the guys that are working it, making it easier on the inmates, but it's got to be hard on the guys that are working it. Yeah,
people don't notice it, but it does take its toll on you. Just smelling poop, going through poop. To find weapons. Like who talks about that? Us. You see stabbings. They're like, oh man, he'll live. But we just talk like, oh man, stabbings. That means we can do paperwork. That's what we're worried about. Because we get so used to it. It's horrible. But these are human beings also. And I understand that too. I understand some of these individuals, they have parents, they have brothers, sisters. Some of them commit crimes. I mean, I made a mistake too. Maybe not as extreme as some of these individuals. And then you get to meet a few that do want to do better for themselves. Don't want to come back. And you see them as, seems like a good dude. How did you mess up? And you want to see them succeed and be productive. Because they're obviously going to come out back to the streets.
Yeah. You probably saw that. I think the number of inmates alone, the way it dropped in the past 5 years.
Oh, yes. And that's why back to, with the news. Was it Prop 36 that just passed?
Prop 36 passed. Prop 47 was the one that let everybody out.
Yes. It's, again, back to common sense. I'm like, what are we doing? So we're letting these people out, and when they come out, they do a crime, get a fine here, or go to jail, and then go get released because they're so overpopulated. So these individuals, no repercussions. It's like a child.
Yeah.
Just make them spoiled. Like, keep doing whatever you want. Like, but if you don't telling them no or disciplining them or giving them a punishment, why do you think there's more break-ins? What do you think with Prop 36 came? People got tired of it. I'm like, no. Why is this out here?
Well, think back to the days we used to stop shoplifters.
Yes.
And then they're just letting them walk now. You can't stop them anymore. And we used to have a lot of fun doing that at times.
It's crazy how much our time changes.
Yes, exactly. So with that, you're stepping away from that. What are you going to do now?
Honestly, I got so many ideas. It's hard. I've never had this option before. Where what are you going to do? I'm like, I don't know. But I'm excited. I just don't know. I tell my kids, they're like, hey, what do you think about dad does this? Or I go back to school for sure. I'll be taking a couple of classes, see if I can back into it. Because it is very difficult to go back to school.
Oh, it's been a lot of years.
And even I tried to go to University of Phoenix. I did go to University of Phoenix for a little bit.
Yeah.
But that math class was so hard. And it was only pre-algebra. I'm like, oh, geez.
But you haven't looked at it in a long time.
Yes.
Well, you got injured when you were in the military too, right?
Yes.
What happened?
So like a bitch, I messed up my ankles, messed up my back, my neck. And that's not like people complain, but over time, the Army, one thing, at the time when I was there, doesn't teach you how to take care of your body, how to stretch properly, how to not bend over like that. And over time, and especially being young, prideful, being like a macho, I could do it. And now I'm like, you idiot, like why? But you didn't take care of yourself, and now I feel it.
Oh, I bet.
How not eat properly, that makes it. I'm trying to look me like I don't do plastics anymore. It's nothing but steel for me.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be better for myself, for my children. But all that stuff, I didn't know. I didn't know none of that stuff when I was in the military, and they don't teach you that, and it just your body breaks down.
And so you have a little bit of that medical retirement out of that then. So that's helpful.
Yeah, very, very helpful. It's like I told you, if I didn't have that, I wouldn't have been able to quit. I would have still been dealing with corrections.
So they're taking care of you a little bit then. So that's good. I mean, they're honoring their duties.
Yes.
Because you hear that from the VA a lot. It has not done great at times.
But it's the same thing with the VA, with the Army. If you don't go ask, you should know this. anybody in the military, no matter what service, if you don't go ask, you're not gonna find out.
Right.
And you gotta do some legwork. You know, we're not. I mean, this country gives a lot.
Yeah.
The least you could do is go put your, your half and do what you have to do.
Right. I like the idea of you becoming a teacher. I thought that was kind of interesting when we talked about that a little
yes,
bit.
I thought about that. Something like even like a behavioral specialist, something just to help children out, something I could be happy with, something I can make a difference in.
With that, I mean, like I said, I've got a kick out of it. But when you think about these folks coming over now, how can we help them? How can we help what would be a great step?
I say like it's like a job, like a probation period.
Yeah.
Like, hey, the government's going to give you this amount of food, this, I guess, shelter for a certain amount of time. And if you don't progress or if you don't see any kind of inclination that you're going to succeed or doing better for yourself, you can go work at McDonald's. You can move up and be a district manager, be a store manager. Yeah. But what I'm saying, if you're not progressing and you're not doing nothing for yourself and we see you're taking more from the government, you're requesting more, then no.
Time to go home.
Time to go home. You know? Like a probation, give them 30 days. Like, hey, we want to see you working. And you can't get a job. You can go work anywhere.
Right.
You go apply everywhere. Go wherever you can. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's perfect, and I'm not saying like
Better than it was.
I think it's maybe a solution, a possible solution.
Sure.
And then some people might hear me like, "Oh, that's stupid," but I mean, that's my 2 cents on it.
Well, and I think you still have family that would be very affected, so I think your opinion matters a lot.
Oh yeah, some of those fools should be deported, man. And some, yeah, they deserve to be here because again, if they get looked at like, hey, this guy wants to be here. This individual wants to be here, do better for himself. He's working. He's not committing crimes.
Yeah, I know the argument will always be, well, they committed a crime when they came over the border. Yeah, I get that.
No, yeah, and I'm guilty of it too.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and it's. But I always put it back. Wouldn't you do the same thing?
Yeah, but I will say, feeling that, and I've always felt guilty for that. Coming over because it is breaking the law, right? And I've always tried to make amends for it. That's why, like when you go to prison, that's what you do your time. They say, right? And come back a new man. That's what I felt like I've done, and I'm still continuing to do. Is like, hey, I'm gonna show people around me, my countrymen, my children, my family, that I'm sorry for coming illegal. And I've tried to do as best as I could by United States citizen standards.
Right.
By not doing illegal shit. Being here as best as I
think
could.
you've done that, and being brought over it too. I don't think you have any anything to certainly be feel guilty about. I get what you're saying, but yeah, you shouldn't feel that at all.
Yeah, thanks, Chuck.
No.
But it keeps my mindset to keep me on track. In other words,
Yeah. Keep that balance. Yeah. Absolutely. With that, kind of going ahead a little bit more here. Tell us about your life a little bit. What you're doing. I mean, you're married. Got a few kids running around?
Yeah, 3 wonderful children. Moises, 15-year-old, he's going to be a general practitioner, a doctor. He'll have his associate degree probably by next year as a junior. Super smart kid, super hardworking. My middle child's probably going to be a general practitioner too or a chiropractor. He wants to do something in the medical field.
Wow.
Super smart kid, super athletic. He's incredibly athletic, never is tired, never just... I catch him in the mirror, icing his chin, like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm icing my chin. It's the dumbest thing ever. He's just top physical shape for whatever. He eats properly as much as he can. My beautiful daughter, she's 9 years old, super smarty pants, but she's only a baby. It's fun to me,
She'll always be the baby.
She'll always be my baby.
My daughter's 32, and she's still a baby.
Yeah, see? Same.
Yeah, it doesn't change.
Yeah, and Marissa, Marissa, you've met her.
Oh, yes.
Beautiful lady.
Oh, yes.
Met her in the Army, met her in Iraq.
Yeah.
So we've been good, just trying to do as best as possible, with our circumstances.
To think of where you came from, to think of where your kids are going now. I mean, that's the American story.
Yes.
In my mind, right there.
Yes.
You came over here at 2, and now you have 2 kids that want to go in the medical field. And who knows about the third one? I mean, she might do it too. That is definitely, you're worried about any paying debt or paying debt to society or having that guilt. I think that more than makes up for any of that. Yeah. My goodness. I mean, you're creating some humans that are going to help take care of a lot of people.
And that's what I want. That's what I've always believed in. It says, hey, I can't take nothing with me when I die.
Yeah.
But the thing that's going to live on is going to be my bloodline, which is my children, and the memories I leave behind. And hopefully they apply to their children and their future.
Well, I think you've done a pretty good job of it so far. So I think we'll just keep doing that.
Yeah. No, thank you, Chuck.
Now, in that, like I said, we're going to make this kind of a shorter one today. But I think I really wanted your your impressions on the changes in immigration and what's happening there.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you saying, talking on that one, because I know it's going to affect some of your family and some of you guys closer than most.
It will.
But you're just straight up about it, which
Yeah.
is, I mean, that's if.
It's just the truth, and I'm happy. We're happy. Me and my wife, we both voted for Trump. We're happy to see where it leads. I will say, when he first went into office, I've never heard about it, even in history books. Just somebody that goes in there wants to do stuff, not wait the whole long game, just trying to make a difference. Like, come on, like a business thing.
He was just rolling.
Yeah, just rolling, just trying to do things. I'm like, I like that. That's how it should be. I mean, they're working for us.
I think that's a key right there. They're working for. One of the things I was most impressed with, and he's sitting there signing executive orders nonstop, but he's talking to the press the whole time. I don't know if you saw that or not.
I love it. Multitasking. Yeah.
And he knew what he was signing, but he knew to answer the questions, and he's been very open.
Yes.
People may not agree with everything he's doing, but it's all out there. He's not hiding anything, it seems like.
Yeah. It takes a lot of guts to do what he did, to go through the stuff he went through. And I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm a free spirit, as I say.
Yeah.
I like to listen to everybody. But that takes courage to do what he did, to go through the stuff that he went through with the court stuff after being president, and to go after that loss and then come back.
You get shot.
And get shot at twice, you
Yeah.
know, to try to, or not, the second time, try almost. But anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah,
He was trying.
Yeah.
He was trying.
But just crazy to have those kahunas to still want to be the president.
I think it speaks well in that some people will say it was just his ego, but I think maybe it's more that he wants to take care of the country.
Yes. And smart individuals like, Elon Musk is on him. He's, super supportive of him right now. Like, this guy was completely a different mindset, complete leftist.
Yeah.
And now he's coming around like I don't know what went through his man and what transition happened to him, but like somebody like that is so smart that can make a decision like, you know what, this is the right guy for the job.
Right.
That's incredible to me. He can change somebody's mind like that.
Yeah, and I always heard once you sit down with him, it makes a big difference. So I'll never do it, but at the same time,
Yes.
yeah, we invited him on. He didn't respond. Worst thing he can do is say no.
I'm sure he's pretty busy.
Yeah, he's a little busy. So, well, I think that's awesome, buddy. I really appreciate you coming in today and talking about this and your perspective. I think more people need to listen to that a little and understand where things come from and what happens with that.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you again for having me.
Yeah, I think one of the best gifts I ever got was from you. You were, if you remember, you came back through Washington, D.C., and you grabbed me a copy of the Constitution.
Oh, yes.
You called me like at
That's
9 o'clock at night or something and said, hey, I got something for you. And I think you were coming back from Bosnia is when you were.
I was in Washington, one of the museums. I remember that.
Yeah,
you're
it
right.
seems like you were coming home and you stopped in there and then you brought it back. And I still have those. They're sitting in my safe.
That's awesome.
So
yeah.
it meant the world to me.
Oh, man, I'm glad you say that. That's so cool. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, we're very blessed to have that document, the Constitution.
Well, and like I said, I want people to have an open mind when they're thinking about what's happening with immigration and everything, because I think, like I say, your story is definitely worth people listening to and hearing it and understand what can really happen and what is out there.
Yeah.
So, well, very good. I appreciate it. We'll call that a day.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Best of all, a 5-star review is much appreciated.